Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, we are from group 6. In this video, we are going to present our first material talking about acquisition of phonology and morphology. But before we explain it, let me introduce our group members. There are Citra Yasa, Restika Arisandi, and Alvi Aqmaliyah S. Alright, here is table of contents. The first one is definition, the second one is factors, the third one is pedagogical strategies, and the last one is process. Without any further ado, let's start the explanation. My name is Restika Arisandi. My student's number is 192122064. I'm going to explain the definition of language acquisition of phonology and morphology. Alright, language acquisition of phonology or phonological development of language acquisition refers to how children learn to organize sounds into meaning or language during their stages of growth. As more sounds of language are acquired, language becomes clearer. Next is language acquisition of morphology. Language acquisition of morphology refers to how children learn to describe the structure of words and pattern of word formation in a language. As they move to more complex structure or expression of their meanings, they add grammatical morphemes. Next is factors influence the acquisition of phonology and morphology. Alright, infants' phonological repertoires begin to reflect the speech sound repertoires in the environment. Next is children who enter the preschool period have been acquired a large number of words, and the composition of these words influence what speech sound they produce and perceive. The last one is children in the end of preschool period can produce or can pronounce words clearly so that they have a chance to acquire accurate pronunciation in this early age. Alright, that's all the material from me. Next will be delivered by my friends.
Hello, my name is Alvi Aqmaliyah S. My student's number is 192122066. In this section, we'll talk about the pedagogical strategies that can be used to enhance the acquisition and development of phonology and morphology. Alright, the first section is about the phonology. The first strategies is imitation that can be used in the infant stage. Imitation can play a role in the development of any aspect of language learning, including the development of phonology. Clearly that the infant cannot echo all that he or she hears or sees. However, what is heard and seen can be approximated and used by the infant to test how well his or her own behavior matches to his or her caregivers, teachers, and parents. The ability to remember develops over these periods in terms of the amount remembered and the kind of stimuli that can be remembered. Therefore, caregivers or parents or teachers' interaction with the infant and the environment that containing objects and events that the infant can interact with are crucial to develop in all these areas. Alright, the next is alphabet books, and this can be used in the preschool stage. Learning the A, B, and C has been related to more successful development of literacy at a later time. Both knowing the letters and recognizing their visual representation make children more aware of the relation between letters and sounds. For example, the letters B and the sounds B, or the letters V and the sounds V. Having alphabet books to look at and reading alphabet books aloud plays the dual role of recognizing and relating. Some children are very familiar with the alphabet books before they entered school, but some others maybe not. And this is the reflection of different types of early experiences. And the next strategy is listen and say, which also can be used in the preschool stage. This task requires children to listen and to say whether words are the same or different, or to identify words while pointing to pictures. So basically this is kinda using flashcard. Children discriminate or identify minimal pair of words such as pig and big, or moon and spoon. In addition to testing auditor discrimination, such tasks may help in recognizing early on children who vary in their basic phonological knowledge. This includes children who have speech sounds that are different from the mainstream dialect or language. This task might also indicate which children may have mild hearing problems that might interfere with their language comprehension abilities, as well as those with more severe problems. And the last strategy is rhyming words, and this is also can be used in the preschool stage. Activities such as rhyming words and putting together separated part of words such as puzzle enhance phonological development. The sequence of the development of these abilities is first syllable discrimination and segmentation, and then segmental discrimination and segmentation. Activities to enhance phonological discrimination should be sequenced in this way. Data indicate that young children do this task more successfully with meaningful phonological sequences than with nonsense syllables. Therefore, to begin with, real sounds should be used. At a later age, nonsense syllables can be used. Alright, the next is about morphology. The first strategy that can be used in enhancing the acquisition and development of morphology is simple question, and this can be used in the preschool stage. To enhance the development of morphology, in this case about markers of numbers and tense, questions can be asked about simple things such as what do we say when there are two of something, or what do we say when we want to give the thankful to our friends, just like that. And that something in the first question can vary in final consonants so that different endings are required. For example, bag, meat, rose. And then visual as well as auditory representation are needed to be presented to the children in order to make them easier in acquiring the morphology. And the next strategy is correct or wrong, and this is also can be used in the preschool area. Giving the children examples of correct and incorrect way of saying something is a technique that can draw their attention to morphological markers. Studies have shown that children of 3 and 4 years are able to judge whether the sentences are correct or not, or alternatively are produced by good speaker or not so good or funny speakers. They usually do not as yet have the ability to explain why is it correct or why is it incorrect, but it needs to be kept in mind that there is a dialect variation of this kind of knowledge. In fact, differences in judgment by different children in the class might be a topic of discussion of differences in the way people talk about the same things. And then the last strategy of morphology is reading and writing, but this can be used in middle childhood. During the middle childhood years, greater awareness of components in each of the structural areas of language, such as morphology, lexicon, and semantics, is achieved. This greater awareness leads to greater mastery in the use of these components. A large part of this development of greater awareness is, of course, caused by reading and writing. Reading allows language to be contemplated by the reader. It doesn't disappear, as does spoken And sign language, meanwhile, writing requires bringing to conscious awareness what one knows about language in order to realize it as written words. In the area of morphology, a greater awareness of correctness in usage is achieved. This ability makes children more sensitive about whether or not the forms used to denote time, number, and relations are correct, and whether pronoun and preposition use is correct. Theoretically, this ability would allow children to edit their spoken and written productions more effectively. However, spontaneous correction, especially in writing, need to be encouraged during this period. Alright, that's all from this section. The next section will be delivered by my friend Citra Yasa. Thank you!
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Citra Yasa. My student's number is 192122050. Here I'll continue the material, and it will be about the process of acquiring phonology and morphology. And for the first, it'll be acquiring phonology from the stage of age 0 until 3 years old. It begins with the infant produce various kind of vocalization, for example, crying, cooing, and etc. And it's usually the vocal sounds that they produce in this part of cooing. They produce vocal sounds like oh or something like that, yeah. Then it followed by the bubbling pace includes vowel and consonant sounds, for example, mama, ma, or papa, pa. Alright, and for the age of 3 until 5 years old, they make words as clear as possible. For example, here, the words of slow and show, it sounds like sing, so they try to pronounce it clearly. For example, slow and show. And then children here begins to master words that start and end with what are called consonant cluster, as well as words composed of consonant, vowel, consonant, such as bag, hat. And then for the age of 6 until 9 here, many of phonological errors at these early stages of development are the result of transfer from the native language. For example here in the book, the researchers said that Japanese second language learners have difficulty distinguishing between R and L sounds and may pronounce row as low. So to deal with that, usually they use a gesture to help them to make a word clearly. Alright, and for the age of 9 until 13, at this pace, the children making a joke, or they appreciate the riddles. For example, here, the riddles, they ask someone, what has 4 wheels and flies? Acquiring morphology. For the age of 0 until 3 years old, they producing the vowel sounds. For example, like O or A or A, something like that. And then for the age of 3 until 5 years old, they knowing some vocabularies, in this case a single vocabulary such as the word show, slow, eat, or throw, and etc. And then for the age of 6 until 9 years old, they knowing about the use of prefixing and suffixing, and they can make the sentence. However, they still face the problem. For example, the use of prefix and suffix here, unhappy, disconnect, and then reader. And the problem they face, this is the one of the problems that they face. For example, here the use of third person. Here you can see the example. He want some ice cream. Right. For example, here he want some ice cream. Instead of it should be he wants with s in the end. And then another example here, my dad don't want to watch TV. It should be my dad doesn't want to watch TV. And for the age of 9 until 13, here, the largest gain in morphology in this period is the ability to produce derivative words that are composed of prefixes, suffixes, and infixes, and to understand the relation among them. For example, here, the first example, unhappy, unhappiness. This is the syntactic class change adjective to noun. Unhappy, it's adjective, and unhappiness is noun. Another example here, disappear as a verb to be disappearance as a noun. So that's all from me. Sorry for my mistake. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.